Morning, everyone. It's Bronie here again for another day in Bronie's world, and I have my most amazing, dearest friend, Dr. Joel Wallach, with all those things after his name, the author of Dead Doctors Don't Lie, with me today. And this is our monthly call that him and I do to try and shed some light on things that are ailing everyone and finding a better and different way to cover those issues and to maybe help you in a natural way. Now, in saying that, I must say we do not profess to cure or anything like that. We don't, all that sort of stuff. I'll put a disclaimer in when I do this recording. We are just offering you different things to look at that may be the solution you are looking for to make it easier and better for you to deal with that issue or avoid it altogether, or even maybe turn it around to give you better health. So now with I was going to say, with no further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Wallach, but we were chatting beforehand about gotta get my tongue around this. Muscular dystrophy. Yeah, that's it. My dyslexic tongue won't get it run. And the different thing, you know, I've seen it in children. I've heard different ones being doctors say, oh, they were born with it. And then I've got a dear friend who is in his 80s. I think he's late 80s. I'm not 100% sure how old he is, actually, to be honest. Age is just a number, so I don't look at people's age in that respect.
Well, I'm 85.
21. But his mind's still good, everything. It's just his body's really deteriorating. And his wife was telling me yesterday, and because of where I live, that it kept cutting out, so I didn't quite catch it. But she said, oh, well, it's a worse form of muscular that word. And so, of course, he's my friend, and he's been a friend of ours for many, many years. I would like to be able to offer them some solutions and things that can help him live a better life in however long God has given him left to live, because I don't like seeing anyone suffer. So, Doc, with no further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, please.
Okay, do I get to take it now?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Okay, I was just enjoying your beautiful smile. Okay. And so, at any rate, basically, I'm very familiar with muscular dystrophy in all its forms. I have a degree in agriculture. I have a degree in veterinary medicine. I have 4 postdoctorate fellowships, big grants, 4 of them. Okay. And then I also am a naturopathic physician. So I cover a lot of territory.
And a pathologist.
I'm a pathologist. I have, let's see here, 25 best-selling books. You know, each one of them sold at least 100,000 copies. And they're going out the door like crazy right now because people are wanting more and more information to help themselves because doctors are failing them. And so, in fact, one of my great stories is I had to sue our Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, big federal agency that controls the medical system. I had to sue them 8 times in our federal court. Okay, because they were doing things that were causing problems. They were preventing the manufacturers of baby formulas to put vitamins and minerals in there. They're preventing them from putting vitamins and minerals in there. Just use milk. Don't use any vitamins and minerals in them. So I'd win in the federal court. They'd countersue me. I'd sue them again. I'd win in the federal court. I had to sue them again 8 times. Finally, after they spent $80 million trying to beat me, they said, well, we're not going to keep going here because it'll soon be $160 million. It'll be $300 million. No, we're quitting here. And so I was able to get these nutrients put into baby formulas. And did you guys ever hear of Jerry Lewis out there in Australia?
Yes.
Okay. And so we gave him the information on what was causing muscular dystrophy. Okay, in animals, it's called white muscle disease, where the muscles turn white instead of red because they're not normal anymore. They're missing these nutrients. And so we learned in the animal industry, because we don't have health insurance to pay for clinical treatments where they just give you painkillers. It didn't get rid of the disease, they just give you painkillers. We learned how to get rid of muscular dystrophy in animals by putting nutrients into alfalfa pellets and then giving them the alfalfa pellets with the nutrients in it. We gave them these big salt blocks with trace minerals in the salt blocks. They'd lick the salt blocks, get the trace minerals that way. We eliminated muscular dystrophy in animals. Well, when I was in school, grade school, there were several of my classmates had muscular dystrophy. So I'm giving them these nutrients I'm bringing over there from our farm, and I cured them of their muscular dystrophy. It was like crazy. Okay, I'm only 8 or 9 years old. Okay, so to me, that turned my whole life around because I realized that the veterinary industry is way, way, way ahead of the human health system. And I don't know if it was just ignorance or if they were doing it that way so they could get more money. Because if they cured you in 3 days, okay, with a trace mineral salt block, with all the trace minerals in it, they didn't make much money. But if they treated you every day for 20 years, they made a lot of money. Okay, so was it a purposeful thing or was it an ignorance thing? Okay, well, it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to get information. So I took it to Jerry Lewis, took him around to about a dozen of our farms where we had cured muscular dystrophy in kids. And, they've been treated for years by their local doctors. And in weeks and months, we got rid of muscular dystrophy. He was so excited. He took it to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. They fired him, put a gag order on him so he couldn't say anything to the newspapers or the government or anybody else. And but before he died 2 years later, he knew that we had found the cause, prevention, and cure for muscular dystrophy. And he was so happy about that. Now, he had raised $2 billion, which is a lot of money back in those days, 50 years ago. He raised $2.3 billion to do research to find a treatment. Well, I found it just by watching what we did already for animals. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I even had one of my classmates had muscular dystrophy. I gave him the alfalfa pellets with the minerals in there, told them to throw away their oatmeal and all their cereals with wheat, butter, and oats in it because it had gluten in it and they couldn't absorb nutrition because of that. And just use the alfalfa pellets and pour milk on it and use that as a cereal for breakfast. I'm getting rid of their muscular dystrophy with these alfalfa pellets with the vitamins and minerals in it, using it instead of oatmeal. Okay, or Wheaties, or that sort of stuff, because they all had gluten. Yeah. And so, but at any rate, it was a tragic loss for us to lose Jerry Lewis, but at least he knew before he died that we had found the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy. So it was like crazy. Now, I'm going to jump over to another subject. It's kind of similar, but another subject. There's a whole list of diseases that afflict the brain and spinal cord. Okay. We're talking about Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, frontotemporal dementia, Bell's palsy, cervical spondylosis, optic neuritis, Charcot-Marie tooth, okay, and Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I could go on and on. There's about 50 of these diseases.
Can I interrupt you for a minute? Would
Bell's palsy?
No, Cerebellar, cerebral Ataxia. Would that be part of that? It's a worse form of motor neuron disease. Would that come under the same?
Guillain-Barré syndrome, are you talking
about? I'll spell it again. Cerebellar.
Cellular.
Yeah. Ataxia. It's a deterioration of the balance and coordination center of the brain. So
okay, good. Okay,
most
very
people,
easy.
It's a bit like motor neuron disease.
Okay, very easy. Very easy.
Would that come under that same heading as
yes. Here's one of the pages in this flip chart. okay, it has some of these diseases that are caused by the loss of the myelin, the white matter in the brain and the spinal cord.
All right.
Same
But so
disease.
this is like so it is part of the white myelin that's missing.
Yeah. Now, one of the things you have to appreciate is medical doctors treat these people for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Milking the herd. Okay. Now, I learned to get rid of this because of what we were doing in animals. So, my first one where I really did a big thing was Parkinson's disease. Now, in America, for 100 years, we had 60,000 new cases of Parkinson's disease each year in America.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it jumped to this last year, it jumped to 90,000 a year, went up 50% because doctors were giving people prescription drugs to get rid of cholesterol. Now, cholesterol makes up 85% of your brain and spinal cord. Cholesterol makes up 95% of your sex hormones for both males and females. Cholesterol is your best friend up here and down there. Okay.
Yeah.
And doctors don't know this. Okay. And so I started treating these people and are getting them better. And on page, I think it's page 27 of the flip chart, which has 77 pages in it. We sell these flip charts for the hundreds every month. And we have all these famous people who are movie actors and they're singers and they're wealthy people, they're athletes who had Parkinson's disease, but we give them these nutrients and it goes away. And they agreed to come and give us, full page testimony. And we have their pictures, okay, in this flip chart, plus their story according to them. And of course, we have common average people who had the problems. We have one lady by the name of Madeline. She was 75 years old. She had Parkinson's disease for, 10, 12 years. And she was, just going down the tubes rapidly. And the doctors are telling her family, well, you better get things ready there because she could die before she walks out of here. She's really sick with Parkinson's now. Well, one of her family members was a member of our Longevity family, our company, a member of our company. Okay. And he says, is there anything we can do for her? And I said, well, sure. Here's a program for Parkinson's disease. He gave it to her in 3.5 months. She didn't have Parkinson's anymore. She goes into the doctor for a regular routine monthly examination. And they said, well, we must have somebody else's data here. This isn't right. Come back tomorrow. We'll do another test on him. He says, came back tomorrow. Still perfectly normal. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And she wrote dozens of letters to us. And I highlighted in yellow, this is on page 27, highlighted in yellow, the important things she said about what she did for her Parkinson's disease go away. On the other side of the page, these are letters from doctors who had been treating her for 20 years, or not 20, but I guess 10, 12 years. They said they'd never seen cases of Parkinson's disease disappear like that. Okay. Well, now we have hundreds across the world because they tell somebody at the doctor's office in the waiting room, they're talking about, well, you used to sit there and do this all the time. What's going on? Well, I took this stuff and my Parkinson's disease is gone. Okay. All my tremors are gone. It's all different now. And well, my doctor says it's genetic. Well, the guy who gave me this stuff, me, it's not a genetic thing. Okay. It's not a genetic thing. It's not a genetic thing. Okay. That's what doctors tell you. When doctors can't cure something, or at least give you some big painkiller like aspirin, okay, kills the pain, doesn't cure anything. You have arthritis, you take aspirin, it kills the pain, but the arthritis continues to get worse, right? Well, same thing is true with Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis or ALS, amyotrophic sclerosis, and Bell's palsy, Charcot-Marie tooth, and Guillain-Barré syndrome, and on and on and on. There's about 50 of these different diseases that are all caused by a loss of the myelin, white matter of the brain, which makes up 85% of your brain volume. Okay. And also, when you have just not only for Parkinson's disease, but all these other diseases. Okay. And so it's one of those things where we found out how to rebuild the myelin in the brain and spinal cord. So we have these programs. Okay. We have the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. Duh. Healthy Brain, Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. And then we have, again, I think these are the ones I want. Yeah. This is the stuff that your brain white matter. Okay. Your brain white matter. We're talking about the brain, 85% white matter, spinal cord, 85% white matter. And it's all nutrition. Okay. These, I like the French vanilla ones. Okay.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. I take 3 of these twice a day. If I'm going to be doing something heavy physical, I take three times a day, but regularly 2 or 3 twice a day. And we have them in capsules. If you want to take the capsules with you someplace, we have it in powder. You can mix it in your drink in the morning. Okay. And it's one of those things where it's never failed. It's never failed. When people try this and they're really on it and do it as we prescribe, it never fails. It will get rid of their Parkinson's disease. It'll get rid of Alzheimer's disease. It'll get rid of all these other diseases that afflict the white matter of the brain. And all these kids now, are you having this problem in Australia where these kids, little girls think they're boys, little boys think they're girls?
Yes.
They're having a gender thing? Yeah.
Some of them even think they're cats.
Okay, now this happens because the mothers are not taking vitamins and minerals before they get pregnant. And as the baby's developing in the first couple of weeks, they're missing those nutrients. And the nutrients that help you, your tissues tell you that you're a girl and help the boys. You have boy tissues and you're a boy. It doesn't get done. So when the baby's born, they're a normal baby. They have boy equipment and girl equipment. But by the time they get to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, suddenly now, grandma, talks to a little girl like a little girl and talks to a little boy like a little boy. And he says, Grandma, I'm not a little boy, I'm a girl. Why would we do that? Well, because all the equipment was not made in the uterus from the mother in the early stages of pregnancy. And this used to happen in animals thousands of years ago. And that would happen. A farmer couldn't afford to have a bull think he's a cow because he wasn't doing his job and making babies. Okay. Couldn't think a cow was a bull, and she's working with the other bulls thinking she's a bull. So they would kill those animals and eat them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you can't do that to kids, can you?
Well, they can't do that they can't kill the little kids and eat them. Okay. In this case, but we cross our fingers and hope and pray. We give them, the 90 essential nutrients, the 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minerals, 3 fatty acids. We have what we call kids toddy, all the nutrients in it, kids toddy. Okay. Yeah. And we give them the kids toddy. And then we give them the nutrients, okay, in a nice tasting liquid form. And we give them, okay.
26.
Yeah, again, I like the what?
Yeah, my grandkids love the chewable.
Yeah. Your friend is what?
My grandkids. My grandchildren.
Your friend's children.
Yeah, my grandchildren love the chewables.
Yeah. So what you do is you give them the I-26 chewables. They think it's candy, but it gives their body what it needs to get things back in the right, correct tracks. Okay. Now some are too far along and it won't work, but many will, over a period of weeks or months, will flip around and get on the right tracks. So it's worth trying. Otherwise, there's a problem there. Okay. And it's one of those things where, again, very famous movie actors, singers, very wealthy people, very successful government people, who were on their deathbed. The doctors had given up on them. Their friends or relatives came to us. We gave them a program. We brought them back. And so they told their stories. Their stories are in this flip chart, 90 for Life Crusade to Save Humanity in the World. And so their stories are in here. And people believe these people because they're very successful, wealthy, very successful, talented people. who used our programs and got better. Okay. And so this is available to you. We can ship them, to Australia. I think there's 75, 77 pages here, covers an enormous amount of territory. And these things taste good. So little kids like them, adults take them, no problem, because they taste good. And if you don't want to chew them and swallow them and eat them, you can go ahead and take the capsules or put the powder in your drinks and that kind of stuff. Okay, so there's several ways to do this. And it's one of those things where we have a responsibility to our community. You can't have little kids. You see this on professional and Olympic and college sports. The boy thinks he's a girl and he wants to play on the girls' team. We can't be in the girls' room, okay, with the girls and play on the team as a girl. Same way the girls, okay, want to play on the boys' team. Okay, they can't be in the boys' room ready to go on the field and play, okay, because they're girls, but they want to do it. And so they're in there and, they're taking showers with the boys and all this kind of stuff, and it's freaking everybody out because they think they're a boy, or the little girls think they're a boy, the little boys think they're girls, because mama was not taking vitamins and minerals, and in early pregnancy, the parts didn't get everything they needed, so they missed a whole big chunk of life at that point for the rest of their life.
Really.
So we do have a product, okay, for boys. It's called Zeratest. I have them take 2, along with their kids' toddy, right? I have them take the little boys who think they're girls. I have them take the Zeratest. So the little boys are taking the test stuff, and some of them will come around. Not all of them, but some of them will come around. And then for the girls who think they're boys or they want to be in the boys' room with the boys, the parents can give them the Zerafem for females, right? And many of them, I'd say about 25% to 40% will turn around and be normal, but the majority won't. Okay. And so you also need to give them the I-26. It gives the brain all the raw materials to make the white matter of the brain and spinal cord. So all the equipment is working correctly as best it can. And so these are things that we have to deal with because the medical system has missed it terribly. Their treatments are just way off the chart because they don't know what's going on. Well, I'm a pathologist and I've done over 30,000 autopsies. It's in my books. That's why my books are bestsellers. Okay. My one book, you sold over 300.
You know what you're talking about.
Yeah. My one book here, we sold 347,000. No, I take that back. 347 million of these books. Okay. And much more than that, maybe 400 million or CDs. Uh-oh.
And now it's available. I can give people a link and they can listen to it via.
That's right. And you can actually, go online, become a member of Youngevity and buy these products at wholesale prices and get these kids turned around, going in the right direction. I'd say 25 to 50% of the time. There's some of them that are too far gone by the time they try it. They're 18, 20 years old. They're probably not going to come around, but you give them a try because, every once in a while one will. But you see them in the
I'm guessing sometimes when they're at that age, they don't want to be turned around. They like what they are.
Well, right. They've already made the adjustments and they made all the adjustments.
What saddens me, Doc, is I don't know what it's like over there in the US, but here in Australia, they're allowing these little kids to have sex changes. They're not old enough to vote. They're not old enough to really know their own mind. Some of them haven't even started school, and their parents are allowing them. Well, the medical system is, and they're sort of saying,
the parents are so, the parents are so embarrassed that they're willing to let the doctors chop their kids up, hoping they'll fix them.
Well, there are some um, organizations that are on the kids' side and take the authority off the parents to let the kid do it.
Mm-hmm.
You say, oh, no, this is what your kid identifies as, then, you as a parent don't have a choice. And I'm thinking, that's really sad. There's some, my daughter's a teacher, and there's a few, I have lots of friends who are teachers, and they have kids coming and identifying as cats and stuff, and they have to give them a litter box to do their business in at school.
They thought they were cats.
Yeah. And look, the simple answer to that is, what do we do with domestic animals when we don't want them to breed? We neuter them. So, but anyway, do you do that to a child? Do you make, go and have them sterile so that they can't reproduce?
Yeah, that's what they do. They do the surgery, and it's a very, very terrible thing. And
I mean, most of it is, I mean, growing up, I grew up on a dairy farm, so I'm a farming girl, and I have 4 brothers. I have 3 sisters as well. But, sort of like, you have your moments where you're a boy, you're just running around doing stuff. Well, you have to do all the farm work, don't you? So you sort of feel like you're one of the boys, but, you're a bit of a tomboy at times and stuff. It's just normal. It's normal play. It's just normal. It's kids should be allowed to be kids. They shouldn't have this pressure put on them, and they should just, like, it really hurts me when I hear people as adults turn around and say, oh, well, if only my parents let me have a sex change when I was little, and I'm thinking, you can make that decision as an adult, but as a child, you're not functioning. Your brain's not at that capacity to do
child
that.
doesn't have the experience or knowledge or the reading experience to understand what's going on, and to let them make a decision like that is terrible.
Well, yeah, and that's what's sad. That's what really makes me mad is there are government departments, there are actually organizations set up by the government here that gives those children the right to do that. And I'm thinking, how is that in the best interest of the child? It clearly is not. It's
okay.
It's like,
we only have a few minutes left. We only have
yes.
a few minutes left.
Oh.
So I want to talk about 2 other books. It's all in your head. It goes into all the diseases that occur when you get osteoporosis of the skull and they start squeezing the 12 pairs of cranial nerves in the spinal cord.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my favorite picture. Okay, it's on page 6. Okay, you've seen this before. The top is a normal skull. It's only
I usually have that book sitting right beside me, but it's
and the bottom one is a skull, and somebody who has osteoporosis of the skull, it's an inch and a half to 2 inches thick. Okay, that's not bone, that's scar tissue. Okay, and when you squeeze those nerves, each one of those cranial nerves goes to a different part of the body, and it shows you what diseases you're going to get when those particular nerves get squeezed. That's page 7. Now there's 12 chapters in this book. Each chapter is on the subject of that one cranial nerve. There's 12 cranial nerves, there's 12 chapters. And it tells you what nutrients they need to take to solve the problems that have been created by osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing that nerve. And we also have, for the spinal cord, we have a CD. Okay, goes into all the diseases of the spinal cord that are caused by osteoporosis of the skull and the vertebrae. Okay, so the CD goes with that book. Okay, and then we have another book. This is my newest one. It's called Metabolic Syndrome. It's about, I don't know, 4 months old now. Metabolic syndrome. This metabolic syndrome was described in the old Bible 2,000 years ago. Now, they didn't call it the metabolic syndrome, but they talked about the symptoms. A big fat belly, sugar problems. They also had, let's see here, low blood sugar, that's diabetes, and hypertension, okay, diabetes, and those things all say you have metabolic syndrome. Now in America, I don't know about Australia, but in America, 1/3 of all adults, both males and females, 1/3, 1 out of 3 adults in America have the metabolic syndrome. Belly fat, they've got diabetes type 2, and they've got high blood pressure. Those 3 things together, okay, but it gets worse because these people, their immune systems are so low, they get all these other diseases, okay? They get about 25 or 30 other diseases, okay, because they're missing these other nutrients as well. And so it's a big problem. And so this book, every family should have a couple of these books, metabolic syndrome. Your family, every one of them should have It's All in Your Head, because doctors just do surgeries, they give you hormones, they give you prescriptions and to relieve symptoms, and then you die much earlier because none of those drugs that cure pain make you live longer. But the doctor was a hero to the patient because it made you feel better, because you didn't have the pain anymore. Okay. But the problem kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, but the pain was gone. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, isn't it? I mean, just to be able to live a quality life, even no matter how long that life is between the dash. So, can I just ask you one last question, if you've got a minute? Like I said, I have a friend who has burning pain in the face every day, and she can't function. She sits in front of a fan with ice packs day and night, and it's so bad she can no longer even take her kids to school. So yeah, and obviously she's becoming quite depressed through all this. Is there something we can do for this lady?
Yeah.
And what do you think's causing this?
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, get rid of all the bad foods: no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat, brown oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. That one's got to go. Then per 100 pounds of body weight, let's say she weighs 110 pounds, 120 pounds, you need 1 healthy brain and heart pack. Take a half a dose of breakfast, half a dose of dinner. If she weighs 140, 150 pounds or more, it's 2 healthy brain and heart packs. So full dose of breakfast, full dose of dinner. But then also they need the I-26, okay? These little, well, not little, but these chewables, okay? These chewables, okay, come in this bottle, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Good
2 or 3 of those. Yeah, 2 or 3 of those twice a day. Okay. And that's going to get rid of all these problems. Also, the sweeties for the diabetes type 2, for the hypertension, are Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. So get rid of high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And of course, then the belly fat. When people have belly fat, that's because they're eating a lot of carbohydrates because they're hungry, because they're missing things. Their body said, eat, 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 and you'll find what it is you're looking for. Okay. That's those 3 things: belly fat, okay, so abdominal obesity, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. Those 3 things together, you have the metabolic syndrome. Again, it was first described in writing 2,000 years ago in the Old Testament, but they can see in the skeletons of the cavemen from 200,000 years ago the metabolic syndrome.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And so these are things that we can deal with. And of course, we have arthritis and osteoporosis are the 2 diseases that keep the medical system in business. Arthritis in America alone, this is just in America alone, each year in America, we spend $626.8 billion just to treat the symptoms, not to prevent or cure it. Okay, now when you're talking about osteoporosis, and you combine the UK, United Kingdom, Canada, and the United States, these 3 countries together spend 6.7 trillion with a T to treat the symptoms of osteoporosis, not to prevent or cure it. And you get the fractures, and you get sickle cell anemia, and you get anemia, and you get hemorrhaging, and you get not enough platelets, and you get all this stuff going on because your bone marrow isn't working, Okay, your bones aren't working. You know, not enough red blood cells. You're anemic, and the doctors want you to come in once a week, get an iron shot, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, and so these are things, they're easily fixable in weeks. Weeks. I do this thousands of times a month all over the world, by the thousands. Okay, because that's why we came out with these books. You know, these books are 100. These are only 40 pages, so there's 100 of these books in a pallet, not a pallet, in a case. Okay, so we send these cases around the world. We don't send them there until they pay for them, but we send them around the world. Okay, to cover all these things and make people's lives better and make them live longer and so, and you know, much healthier and so on. So this is unimpeachable. We've been doing this for, I don't know, 5 years. Seriously, in the last 3 years, it's like going ballistic because they've seen so much success. We've been working on this. Everybody wants to be in on it. That's a good thing. We need more people to tell the story. We need more people to be, you know, people who are in our longevity organized business and get the information out there so we can help people live longer, live more comfortably, live healthier. And none of that stuff is genetic. But doctors, well, you have this genetic thing, you know, live with this for the rest of your life, and I can, you know, give you some relief for this injectable. You got to come in every month. Come in, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Come in every month, and I'll give you a shot, and it'll last you a month. You got to come back in the next month. Okay. And so this is, and when people realize that they're taking our program and it's going away, it's not just feeling better, it's going away.
Yeah. And that's key, isn't it?
Yeah, that changes everything in that family. And they start telling, they go to church and they have other church mates who have the same problems because it occurs in, you know, 1 out of 3 adults. So, all over the world. So now all these church members are telling other church members about this. And they, you know, they have little meetings after the Sunday services and all this kind of stuff.
Sit around for a cup of tea.
Then on during the evenings on Tuesdays or Thursdays, whenever it is, they have meetings and they get the information, they get the products, and their problems are going away like crazy. And so really, and we have, like I say, 25 best-selling books. We have charts, okay? It tells you what's in each of these books, what the subject is, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So you can text us, which is cheap, and say you want one of those charts with the various books and CDs and DVDs and the prices and so on, okay? And they'll send them to you, send these to you. And so you can get this information and have it for your church mates, your neighbors, your families, your workmates, okay? It changes everything when you have information that solves a problem.
It does. It does. It you know, it gives you back quality of life.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I think
yes,
a lot of people
thank you.
Yeah, make a CD out of this and start handing it out to people.
I should do that, shouldn't I? It goes up on YouTube.
Yeah. Make a CD out of it because it's, you know, this will fit on a CD, and it's very economical. And you know, if they buy 10, you give them a discount. Right?
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for your time again, Doc, and we'll catch up again next month with we'll come up with there's always something amazing.
We'll find a good subject to help humanity. We cannot thank you're an angel of God. You're an angel of God, and we cannot thank you enough for all you do for humanity. And so you're such a great example for others. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much for that, Doc. And as I ask everyone here in Bronie's world, I ask you all nicely to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you're having that 90 for life, and the add-ons like the I-26, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's World. Yes, there you go. Doc just had his I-26.